When will gas prices fall again? That is the magic question on everybody's mind. 2 weeks after the initial ceasefire announcement with Iran on April 7th, Energy Secretary Chris Wright actually publicly disagreed with the president and said that gas prices were likely not to fall below $3 until 2027 as a result of the Strait of Hormuz closure. Let's start here with 2021. You have the national average price of gasoline going up in 2021, and that is to do with the fact that the world was reopening following recovery from the global pandemic, which meant that there was high demand for oil because people started traveling in their cars again. Oil is a global commodity that is mostly traded on the US petrodollar throughout the world. OPEC was very slow to respond to the rising demand, so you had low supply, high demand, prices started going up. Now, what happens in 2022? Russia invades Ukraine. Russia was a global oil supplier, so you immediately had this huge spike in oil because, again, oil is a global commodity. It does not matter how much we produce because it is a shared resource that is traded on the US currency. This downward trend that is very slow over the course of several years is the important thing to pay attention to because Biden releases the oil reserves. He starts producing more oil than we ever have before, basically. And you start to see prices slowly start to trickle down. You could see this trend here going slowly down. And even with Trump's inauguration and him starting a second term, it's slowly following the exact same trend line. Then we attack Iran and the Strait of Hormuz is closed. This spike is way more severe than the spike that happened after Russia invaded Ukraine. That is very important. Here is the X factor. Even though Europe and the United States started putting sanctions on Russia and Russian oil, India and China still continue to buy oil from Russia. India and China are two of the largest importers of Russian oil. Fast forward to today, where economists are saying that we are probably going to hit $5 a gallon on a national average very soon. And that is because even though we have currently positioned and stationed 15,000 US troops on the Strait of Hormuz, nobody is taking advantage of this and nobody is willing to run the risk. A lot of that has to do with the fact that these tankers have hundreds of billions of dollars of oil on them and they currently are not insured. And US troops positioned along the strait is not enough of an insurance plan. The short of it is, I actually disagree with both the president and with Secretary of Energy Chris Wright. I think we are looking probably at mid to late 2027 if the war were to end tomorrow, because that's what the data says.